Hello, Mark.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Hey, Broken Justice. How are you? I'm glad you're here. I know Mark's coming, isn't he? Broken Justice. And I'm pretty sure, well, I know Amanda wasn't feeling very good. I think she had virus. I don't want to bug her if she's sleeping. Anyways, tonight we're going to go over a couple more things, and then I'm going to bring up some pictures for anybody that wants to buy. Lori's made scarves, and then she also sent me some pictures of what they look like on too. I'm going to get me one of them, maybe a couple.
They're pretty cool. They
Oh my gosh.
just go over your head, and
Yeah.
they're pretty neat actually.
And they look warm. And all the proceeds go to anybody that wants one. They will go directly into Harry's fund. So that's always a big plus. That's something that you want to donate for, and you get something amazingly. Like I said, I don't sleep without mine. I don't.
She loves making them. That's for sure. She's actually sitting back over here behind me making them, knitting away now. So
I messaged last night, and I'm, that Thurman, Iowa, that case. I'm going to cover that.
Yes, that's awesome. That'd be interesting. I'd like to know more.
Yeah.
I'd like to know a lot more about that deal.
Yes. I messaged about it, and I'm like, oh shoot, it's pretty late. And I'm like, oops, sorry, didn't realize it was so late. And Lori's like, I'm over here in the corner just crocheting like, or knitting, whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah, she always gets up and sits up here late at night knitting, and usually talking to the granddaughter that conversations I don't want to hear.
Oh my goodness. I guess we could probably go ahead and get started. People will start anyway from the beginning, and then they'll fast forward on 2x speed like I always do. Hey, crazy mama. So we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah, cool.
Shall we? Okay. I am going to, maybe Mark was having problems with his computer, and my computer was not acting all that well either earlier. Let me see.
Yeah, I'm on my phone right now, so it makes it a pain.
Well, when you need to switch,
finally coming back up, so hopefully I can get it drop off and get on it instead of on my phone where I can see better.
Yeah, and I don't have my glasses either. Ugh, that's not good. Now we're just going to go over the first one. I know there was one later, like I know, what was it, 19?
I'm gonna say the second one was what, 94,
I think. Yeah,
something like that. I'd have to bring it up here and look. But
we'll just go over these two, and I'm gonna say it again, guys. Anybody that wants to come up and talk, please, because I actually had somebody leave a very interesting comment under the last video, and I know it's got me thinking, and I'm sure it's got Mark thinking. So I really believe that the more we sit and think about this together, that we're going to find Harry. We're going to bring him home. It's one little thing that we're missing. We just got to find it. And if we can just do it together, there is no stupid question. There's never no questions ever stupid. The littlest thing may crack this.
And that's, that's one thing. Like I say, it's all about just putting everything out there, that's in the case file and those type of things. We're going to go over, keep doing this over and over. Not the same thing over and over, but going through the case file and putting it out there to everybody so that maybe somebody's eyes see something different than what I've seen, or what anybody's seen before, or question something, or talk to somebody. I mean, the last one that we did, I had, several different people reach out to me with questions, or just giving me information, of what they knew. I mean, last time we discussed the early statements, from Denny Hollenrake, and it, kind of opened up a little bit of can of worms of people reaching out with stuff and providing me with information that they, either recall from back then or know or have heard. So, it's all about, just keeping it out there and letting everybody kind of see the whole thing. I mean, there's several statements I think still within the file that most of the public hasn't even seen or heard about yet. So
yeah, and that's why I'm glad we're doing this, so people will be able to see it. It's going to be up there. So I'm going to tell everybody hi that's coming in. Shay, thank you. Hey, Mark, thank you. Jenny Fields, thank you. We appreciate you being here, and make sure that you're telling people, you don't have to do it tonight, but make sure you're telling people about the case and send them to Harry's Facebook page. And I will link that in the description. So actually, I'll put it in the comments too. But we're going to go ahead and
I'm going to drop off here real quick, Allison, and come up on my laptop now that it's up. So
okay,
let me see if that works. Okay. Hopefully I don't lose you totally, but
it'll be fine.
All right, I'm right back.
Okay. This is Doug Maddie. And this was February. Oh, never mind. This is the 98 one. Hold on. Let me get the original. I didn't want to bring up the 98 one. Let me see. That's Denny's. I've got so many in here. I may just have to put it back up there real quick. Hold on, guys, okay? Forgive me. It's going to be easier for me to just pull it back out instead of going through all of them. Okay. Okay, guys, let me bring Mark back up here.
There we go.
Yeah. Hold on just 1 second. Instead of going through, I've got so many on here. I'm going to just put it back up here through my phone so I'm not digging through. I grabbed the 1998 one instead of the.
I know on the first one there's not much.
No, there's not.
Very, very little, which is kind of surprising. But
well, not really. Not really.
And I see one of the questions from Speak the Truth on when did they release this info. Let me try to explain a little bit with what we're looking at now. I mean, I call them interviews. A lot of it is really just notes that are in the case file because, unfortunately, in 1984, nobody ever typed a report. I mean, I think the only typed report of the whole first part of the case file is the initial incident report where my mom had him declared as missing. So most of it is all just notes taken by a lot of them, I believe, are by the ex-sheriff, Denny Carr. So that's kind of what we're referring to as far as releasing the information. the information's always been out there. It's just a matter of obtaining it. A lot of people don't realize you can put in a Freedom of Information request to the Sheriff's Department, request the information that you want. As simple as the entire case file, and they're required by there's a form you can fill out that's on the state of Iowa website as far as Freedom of Information requests. You can fill it out, submit it to them, and they have to respond and give you what you asked for. You might have to pay something for it. I mean, just like in this case with Harry's case file, I've had it all along because when I started working there in law enforcement, the ex-sheriff that was there, Larry Merrill, didn't want to hide anything from me. Didn't want to cause any issues, I guess. Wanted me to look at it to see if there's anything that stood out to me at that time. So he, gave it to me and said, here, copy it, and I've had it ever since. Back in 2021, I did when all this got started again with the social media, I did another Freedom of Information request, and it cost me $125 to get the file.
Yeah. And then when I went to get it, what was it going to be? I can't remember, Mark.
I think they said something about $250 or something like that.
Yeah.
Which don't make a lot of sense. I mean, I'm not saying one way or the other, but I paid, basically they have to be reasonable in what they charge is what the state requires. And they charged me the hours it took for an investigator to organize the file, for one, and then for somebody to scan it, and put it into a digital format so I could get it that way. And that's how I received it. I got a digital format.
Yeah.
Only problem is I've probably got, I don't know, maybe 40 more pages of the case file than they have. From my original copying it to what was given to me, I've got more than what they've had.
That's just, I don't know. Okay. Jeff Adler.
Are you doing Adler, or which one are we going to do? Adler or Maddie?
Well, I thought, which one did you want to do?
It don't matter to me, whichever one.
Well, we can do, I've got,
like I said, that's why I know either way, it don't matter. We can do both of the two first ones with these guys because there's not a lot there.
Yeah, exactly. Maddie's, we can do both of them. Might as well. Because, we'll do this one. There's not a whole lot there. Okay, Jeff Adler. Didn't see Harry until after 2 a.m. Sunday morning. He was alone with Jeff and Steve. First saw talking about, I got to pull it up bigger, you guys, my eyesight, I'm getting old. Okay, talking about softball. Something out of the ordinary, nothing out of the ordinary. Might been later than 3:30. Steve Rockwell later. Doesn't know where Harry earlier car has sunroof and fancy wheels. Heavy, what's that, Mark? Heavy comb? Heavy?
Yeah.
I don't know. Two-tone different colors of maroon. No hat on that night. No hat on that night. Hair Marine Corps short.
Yeah.
His friends in Unionville. Check with Denny Hollenrake, former roommate at West Missouri, whatever, university.
Yeah, Northeast Missouri State, yep.
He's got NMSU.
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you think about this? What do you think about it, Mark? And then I'm going to
I mean, of course it's, like I said, it's notes. What, 3 days after Harry came up missing? First of all, I mean, it's I'm not. Every officer, everybody does it a little different of taking notes of talking to somebody, but it still just seems to be so generic, And I mean, even the answers are generic. Um, Jeff says he didn't see him till after 2 o'clock in the morning, and it seems at no point that anybody bothered to ask, okay, if you didn't see him till after 2 in the morning, what was you doing until 2 in the morning? Where were you at? And second of all, where did you come across Terry? What location were you at that he got in with supposedly, as he says, Jeff and Steve? There was just Jeff, Steve, and Harry. There's no mention of Doug Matty whatsoever in any of this.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really strange, and to some people that are watching, it'll make more. I mean, some of the information here I think is kind of pertinent when you start looking at the second statement that was given, years later, because then that's where the real confusion starts. But in my opinion, I know where Harry was at 2 o'clock in the morning. He was at the Waterworks bar. He walked out the door of the Waterworks bar with Mick Flattery and another individual, and headed toward their car. So, and I know, from a witness that,
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
Broken Justice said she tried to get information on Harry and they were going to charge her $300.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. See, and I don't, like I said, I don't know how, I mean, like I said, I know when I got the Freedom of Information request, there was several, I won't say several, there was other places that were getting the information to, even in my very first meeting, with the sheriff and Deputy Worth and John Papps, the county attorney. John Papps even, made it clear that he'd already received other requests, either prior to mine or at the same time as mine for the case file. So, the way it was explained to me is, I was going to be charged for, putting the case file together because it was contained in a box with multiple copies of everything and was absolute a mess. So why it was kept that way, I don't know. I mean, when I received it from Sheriff Merrill, it was in a binder, all together. So, still some of it's, not the best copies of things and other stuff, but it was what it was, and I'm not saying anything there. I just, why there would be difference, like I said, like I explained earlier, I was told I was charged to, organize it, make it digital, put it in a digital format. And then, basically from there, I don't see any cost because I was just provided a link that I could go download the file from.
Yeah. Huh. Speak Truth with Love. She was the one that was in here a couple weeks ago, or maybe the first time, not the first time, but the first, not last time, but the time before, that was asking a lot of the good questions and stuff. And she says it sounds like his car had some unique aspects on it that stands out to her.
Well, I mean, there's some pictures of cars that were similar to it. I don't actually have a picture of it. But yeah, I mean, it was a nice car, It was a two-tone maroon. It was well kept, had chrome rims, I mean, it was fancy, and it was as big as a house, I think there was one other car in town that a guy had that was similar to his.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there was only two of them I've ever seen in my lifetime, I think, and I've never seen another one out and about like Harry's was. I mean, it stood out like a sore thumb, and probably the other thing that probably stood out more with Harry's car is if you saw Harry's car anywhere in Albee, I guarantee you could probably hear the music from about 2 or 3 blocks away. So, I mean, that was just the thing back then.
Crazy Mama. Broken Justice said she feels when they find his car, they'll find him. And Crazy Mama says, right, Broken, I see how a person can go missing, but an entire car, not to mention his car was a boat, huge. And then Broken Justice said that, have you ever tried to, well, I think, yeah, Broken Justice, they are not broken. Shay says, ask for it in electric form. It should be no charge. No, they do charge.
Yeah, they still charge no matter what. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I said the first time when I got it, I understand. Okay, it's an old 1983 file that was never on was never scanned in, was never electronic. So I didn't have a problem with paying a fee to have somebody, scan every document, put it in some kind of electronic format and get it to me. But yeah, I guess my opinion now with somebody saying they was going to charge $300, I don't know. I know, like, some of the podcasts I've done and different things with that. I know some people have, requested it and got the file. I don't know what they was charged. I mean, I know for sure, like the Vanish was one that they wanted the entire file themselves and to see what they would get. So, like I said, that's, at this point, like I say, I can't do much about it. I got what I got, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
Crazy Mama, I do see the chat right now. I bring it up here just a minute ago. I see that. I'm just trying. My problem is I'm not used to looking at it and keeping track of everything.
Let me tell you,
some of the stuff goes by me and I don't see it, and it's like, what was that?
I have a terrible time, and I'm getting better. I really am. But when I have like you up here talking, I can watch the chat. But if it's just me, I'm terrible about watching the chat. I've got to get better at that. Yeah, I do.
And I guess, you get back to the statement itself, I mean, it's so vague. I mean, okay, he was with Harry after 2:00 in the morning. Don't say anything about where they went other than it was him and Harry and Jeff. There's no, mention of Doug Matty anywhere, in this whole picture. And that's, what kind of seems to be strange that, if supposedly it was the four of you riding around and drinking a 6-pack of beer or whatever. I mean, I'm not quite sure why, he would leave that completely out of it. And I do know that, I know they were together after 2:00. I do know that. I believe from a statement I've got since I've started looking into this, they were together on and off throughout the night. I mean, there was a party near the bar in an apartment there. A witness told me, clearly that knows Jeff and knows Doug that, I saw the two of them there with Harry, them two standing by the apartments there, talking to a couple gals, and Harry was standing near the back of his car and ended up having a conversation with the witness that told me.
Yeah.
So to say you didn't see him till after 2:00 in the morning, in my opinion, is nothing but an outright lie. I mean, you're lying about something. Why, I don't know. I mean, I know after 2:00, a witness told me that Harry and Jeff were in Harry's car and stopped on the northeast corner of the square. Had a couple beers with these guys. Talked about Harry winning some money and said that Harry was giving Jeff a ride to his car, which was parked at the Western Club that night. So, I mean, to know what I know now and then look back at this, some people say, when I talk to people now, the biggest excuse I get is, it's been 38 years, my memory, or this ain't that good, or that ain't that good. When these notes were taken, it was 3 days after Harry came up missing. Your memory couldn't
Exactly.
have bad. Didn't go bad in 3 days when you were 20, 21 years old.
Well, I can tell you this much. If it was my best friend, I would never forget. Even I mean, we all have people that when we were younger that that passed away, when you're younger, and you never forget. I don't forget anything about them. Nothing.
And I see a couple of comments, somebody talking about the description of his car. I mean,
I'm pulling it up right now because I think
two-tone,
that
it was a two-tone maroon, 1977 Grand Prix. Big as a house. I mean, fancy rims, the whole 9 yards. Like I said, you could have an apartment in the trunk of the car, really. And then I see somebody else asking about the headlight situation. I know that came up. That's come up multiple times because somebody had mentioned that they seen where Harry was issued a citation for operation with no headlamps.
Yeah.
That whole situation has been cleared up. I've got a copy, not of the actual citation, but the I guess you call it the court records type printout. Where that confusion came with that is that in little town Albee, Iowa, the newspaper come out like, twice a week. The list of citations come out maybe once a month. And really what happened is Harry was wrote a ticket for operation with no headlamps, but it was like on June, like 2 weeks earlier in June. I don't remember the exact date without pulling it out and look, but he was wrote a ticket in June for operation without headlights. Came up missing July 1st, and then later on, a week, I think it was a week or so after he came up missing, that citation actually come out in the paper. So that's kind of been cleared up at this point.
Yeah. Okay. This is what his car looked like. This is the closest that would look but his
even had some fancier on the sides.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was two-tone. The roof was kind of it was a combination of a dark and light maroon. So I mean, it was a little fancier than this car, and Harry's had the dark maroon, like leather interior, or fake leather interior back then. Like I say, size of a boat.
You literally every time I talk about Harry to people, at least people that knew him, and a lot of people talk about his car. So when she brought that comment up, I think that is something good that we do talk about. So I don't know. His car was his baby.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was he had like a green, the heck was that thing, Buick or something before this, kind of an old beater car that he beat around in. Heck, I'd steal it from him and beat around in it whenever he was at practice with something and I wasn't. I had a key to it and I'd drive it around and put it back where it was and dumb stuff like that. But yeah, once he got this car, I mean, this it was his pride and joy. I mean, he kept it immaculate all the time. It seemed like. I mean. Of course, and it was a party cruiser. So
Crazy Mama says that was months prior, though, right? I'm just now going back. Was that talking about the ticket, Crazy Mama? Is that what you mean? I think she meant the ticket was months back from that night. It wasn't that night. Mark.
No, it was, that ticket would have been earlier in June. I think it was almost a month before. I mean, or at least 2 or 3 weeks before he come up missing.
Yeah. Jenny.
I could find the exact date. I got it in the paperwork there, and I'll put some of that stuff, posting some of that stuff up so that everybody can look at it and, kind of keep moving forward with everything that we're kind of doing now with going back and resetting and looking at everything. I see somebody asked about the last time I saw Harry, Broken Justice, I think. Mm-hmm. Last time I remember seeing Harry, I was home out of boot camp. It was kind of a weird situation with the way I joined the Marines first at 17 when I was in school. Signed up. I couldn't go till September of 83. Once I got out of school, turned 18 in July 31st. So it took a while for mine to all process for me to go to boot camp. After I joined, then Harry got the interest in the Marines, started looking into it, and also I think looking at the college part side of it, of going in the reserves. and helping with his college and stuff like that. So he ended up joining, and he actually went to boot camp in July, I believe it was, of '83. So he actually signed up after me, went in before me, got back out. So the last time I would have seen Harry would have been December of '83. I got out of boot camp December 2nd of 1983. Came home for a couple weeks out of boot camp, um, on leave before I had to report back to Camp Pendleton. As far as a specific, actual last thing I remember, I really can't say. We were both, Marines, both, at that time I was, 18, 19, he was, 21. We kind of was doing our own things, we of course would see each other at when I was home on that 2 weeks. We'd see each other at home, basically in passing. I hate to say it, but I'm back, seeing family, enjoying being out of boot camp. I'm trying to run around with friends and stuff, and he's running around doing his thing. So,
Yeah.
I couldn't say exactly the last exact time I saw him, but I know it was at that time period when I was home out of boot camp, and I was home for a couple of weeks. So,
yeah, Broken Justice. Was it Broken Justice, or it might have been Jenny? Asking what type. I know somebody had asked if the dive team came in. Chaos divers are amazing, you guys. They have been here and they're going to come back. I cannot say enough about that team. I know Mark considers them family.
Yeah, they're family to us. So they've, sat there at our house and ate dinner, and
yep.
And we've talked Harry stuff from, one end to the other with all of their experience in dealing with missing cases and stuff. They've been here twice. They've searched multiple, bodies of water. I'm working on, I'm hoping here pretty soon I'll have some maps to put out to show, exactly where we've searched, where we want to search, those type of things. And I just found out, yesterday that, they're planning on being back here in March to do some more searching. There was some of the ponds that we hit had some heavy vegetation, so it makes it kind of rough, for them to search. They want to come back and double check some things. They also now have a new piece of equipment called a Little Buddy, which is a remote control sonar device that basically is like a little boat, basically. So some of the places they couldn't get into with their big boat, and places that they couldn't even get into with their little blow up boat that we had.
So what if there's ice on the pond at that time? Does it, what if there's ice?
Like I say, it's going to depend, but I know they're shooting for March right now. Yeah, hopefully that there's no ice left on the pond.
Yeah.
But we want to kind of get it right around that time frame of the ice coming off before the vegetation starts. So I know that's kind of what
Jenny, what they're looking at. Jenny Fields says, what type of searches have they done? Like water, junkyards. Crazy Mama did respond and said air, water, and all. So when he first came missing, there was a helicopter.
I don't know if they had a helicopter up, but I know they had the Iowa State Patrol plane.
I thought they had a helicopter.
And they may have been. Like I said, by the time I got back here, that part I think was already, they'd already did an air search. I know, my dad flew with Mo Sinclair. If anybody that knows Mo, he's a huge farmer out in the Melrose area. I know Mo took his plane up with my dad, I believe, at one point, flew. I've been up once with the ex-chief of police even here. Russ Kness took us up and was going to do some air searches until one of the engines went out and we coasted into Ottumwa. So I don't know if I'd do that again, but so yeah, there's been air searches done. The junkyards, the bad part is it back in '84 I don't think they had the regulations now that they do now, as far as trying to record VIN numbers of cars that are crushed and everything else. So,
and like Jim said, they took those cars apart. I mean, they just, broke them down to nothing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you could crush them down to nothing. I mean, so and I still, it's it's a tough thing even now. A lot of people will look at Google Earth in Monroe County, and I mean, there's just so many spots where there's
terrible
10, 12, 15 cars sitting out in the middle of some farmer's property, and yeah, from a shot above, it kind of looks like, well, this, people are like, well, could this be Harry's car? Could that be Harry's car? I mean,
yeah
I could spend eons looking at every one of them, but I guess my thoughts are is, unless it's, I don't think somebody would park it there to hide it, thinking that they're going to be able to do that. Nobody ever come across it. And if it's, just a place where there's a bunch of cars and somebody happened to put it there, I would think one of the farmers or somebody that around here or hunters would have, come across it by now. So,
yeah. Speak truth with love. Is there a body of water that is in particular of particular interest?
Of course, there's always been the one on the Avery Highway. That was the first initial, big spot of interest. Now, after the searches that Chaos Divers have done, I do have two different spots that I'm concerned with, that I've received specific information on, as far as, you need to look here type of information. One of them we tried when they were here last time. The person that owns it, we never could get in contact with, as far as getting permission to get on the property. So hopefully, I'm still working on that one. I'm going to put out a map. I mean, really what we, of course, what we tried to cover is all the most probable places for Harry to end up if he, went home or went to a friend's, or, like Denny Hallring, best friend, if he went to Weller. Those are the places we kind of concentrated on, before, plus all the major bodies of water around here. There's still some areas out west of La Villa that I'm concerned with, and that's where both of the bodies of water are that I particularly want to search are out there. So yeah, there are some left. It's just it's still back to that process of elimination, and at the same time getting people's permission to get on their property and look. Now should be hopefully a little bit easier, because with the small, like I said, little buddy thing that I was talking about that Chaos Divers has. I mean, it's a matter of walking up, throwing it in the pond, and running a remote control to search. So you're not really even, there's no damage to property or anything like that. So it's hopefully going to be a lot better.
Jenny Field says, what about counties near us, near Monroe County? Have you?
They've went a couple places. They went to Lake Rathbun, which is in Appanoose County, south of us, a very large lake. There was an area down there that Harry, Jeff, Denny, Stacy Runyon, they and them like to hang out down there, on the north side of the lake there, kind of by the marina area. They went down there and searched that area. Didn't find any cars. They found a sunken pontoon boat.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, but they didn't find any cars in that area, so they've searched there. Part of Jacob's theory was, other places. So they went up to Red Rock, on the south, the main part around by where I think the outlet dam area is, and that, which is probably the easiest access from Monroe County area if you're going that way. They went up there and searched around that. We did the Des Moines River by here. Found a stolen vehicle in the river from 2017. So yeah, and we're still looking at even more. I mean, it's kind of, the way they look at it, and after conversations with Jacob and Lindsay, they do this all the time. They know what they find. They've recovered 13 bodies in the last year and a half. So
I mean, they deserve. That team deserves more credit than what they get,
yes.
and they really do, because they are definitely amazing people. Crazy, I think their buddy remote thing. Crazy Mama wanted to know if it has a camera, but I'm pretty sure it does, doesn't it?
I believe so. It basically relays everything back to the unit. I haven't seen them use it really yet, other than what if you go on Chaos Divers, they got some video of it on there, of when they first got it, kind of playing around with it and figuring it out. So yeah, it can record. They can record it at least back to the unit that Jacob would be looking at. They can record that, either through that itself, or like I say, using the cameras that they use. But yeah, they can record it too. So
yeah, I'm gonna put Chaos Divers link in the chat, and then
like I say, I'm gonna mention this real quick. I ain't gonna really talk about it, but Chaos Divers are amazing people. I mean,
yeah.
doing an amazing thing. I don't know how aware everybody is of everything else going on in the world right now around.
Yeah, we've heard, I think.
But everybody has, I constantly, even to this day, probably even last week, was, referred to talk to Adventures with Purpose. That's not going to happen, especially after the last couple of days. That's about all I'm going to say about that whole situation. Great, they've done some great things, but there's some issues there that is not my business, and I don't want to be a part of, I guess.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. Boy, we've got a lot of good questions. I'm going through. Broken Justice says, let me find it again. Broken Justice. Mark, you are such a wonderful brother. Anyone would be proud to have you as a brother. And that is one thing I can say. I never got the chance to meet Harry, but I feel like I know him. I know Crazy Mama knows what that feels like. I don't know. You just feel like I know him. And I look at Mark and Lori, and if he was anything anything like Mark, he would have been a great guy. I mean,
he was a great guy, and I appreciate the comment, but I don't think I'm doing anything that anybody else wouldn't do.
Well, I can
if you got a family member that's missing, that's probably I talked to several people that have family members missing. The hardest problem that families have is getting people to listen. Because if people will listen, they'll talk about it, word gets out, and then, something may come out of it. I mean, that's the problem that I see with all the missing is there's no voice. Iowa, I live in Iowa. I don't know where everybody is, that's from the YouTube side of things, but Iowa doesn't have a cold case unit, there's no, I mean, I hate to say it, but really in most cases, 300 missing people probably currently right now, or at least real close to it in Iowa. And I would guarantee you that probably 95% of them doesn't have anybody even looking for them.
Yeah, that's what we see. That
other than family members sitting back going, what do I do and how do I do it? And how do I get somebody to help me? Well, that's what's been great about the whole, this whole deal with social media, you, Allison, everybody else that's been involved. I mean, there's been so many people that I've talked to, done podcasts with, did stories with, did article, interviews with for papers. I think every one of them, there's no, because if it wasn't for being able to keep it out there, it'd be the same way. I'd be sitting here like I did for the first, 5 years with nobody listening. You put an article in the paper, people go, oh yeah, I remember that. And that's about it.
And Mark, you're right. I mean, even with you being in law enforcement, I don't know. You are one strong dude. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. Nobody was talking about it. I had lived here how many years before I met you and Lori, and the day you walked into the store, and I could not stop thinking. I mean, it's like, how are people not talking about this? Why are there no, flyers? What is going on? And I could see the hurt in Mark and Lori's eyes. And like I said, I don't do anything other than talk about it and talk about it with other people. I can do that. That's
all I
God
can
gave
ask.
me a voice, and just like you guys, he gave us a voice. Just talk about it. I've sent out, oh my gosh, I don't know how many T-shirts. A couple people, with it, times are hard, and I know some people can't afford it yet. They plan on it, but I don't care about that. Like Mark said,
at this point with the shirts,
we
I
just
don't care
want
if we get a dime out of them.
Exactly.
They're a walking billboard.
Heck,
if you want a shirt, if you want a shirt, get a hold of one of us.
Yes.
We'll get you a shirt one way or another. I'll deliver it. We'll send it to you. Do whatever. We'll get you a shirt. It ain't about the money. It's about, it's about what's on the shirt, and people seeing it and going, hey, what's that? Or,
exactly,
Google searching it and going, oh, wow. I know somebody from Albia or whatever, and people start talking. So,
Yep. I had a guy, he come in the store last week, and he was probably 80. He come in to get minnows to go fishing, and he started talking about Harry, and I gave him a shirt, and he goes, well, what do you want for this? I said, nothing. I said, if you want to donate, right there's Harry's, we've got that containers in there. And he got in it. He goes, well, I usually don't have a lot of cash, but I got $1. I said, you know what? If you can leave that $1, we are very thankful. Just wear that shirt proudly. And it kind of got to him because he was in the, he was in military. And another thing, this is another question I just can't seem to get. And I know a lot of you guys on YouTube have military. I can't figure out why the military didn't come in and do their own investigation, and why you're having such a hard time getting Harry's military records.
Good question.
I can't figure that out, because every time I talk to someone, Mark, that's been in the military, there's no reason for it, they said. I don't know. What do you guys in chat think?
I completely, in this entire case file, there's one letter from the military. Well, not even from the military, but in reference to Harry's military time. And all that is a letter from Denny Carr responding back to one of the, commanders that he had up in Des Moines, I'm guessing. Just saying that, hey, yes, he is still missing, and we've pretty much exhausted, everything that we can do. He's still, in our opinion, basically considered missing, and I mean, we can next time around, we can bring that up and show everybody, but that's it. That's the only thing for the military. I mean, there's been rumors, that somebody from the military may have come here and talked to, some of these guys that were with Harry. At least that's what I've heard. But I don't know that, I have no proof of that. Don't know that for all, at all. I mean, I would love to have, I don't think we're going to get anything earth shattering, from Harry, but you never, from his military records, but you just never know, what's there. I'd like to see what's there so that,
well, and it's not even the fact.
So we know, I mean,
you should have those. I mean, you would think that, they would give them to you being his brother, and, he's.
I've had a request in to the I'm not sure what the name of it is, but it's out of St. Louis for almost, it's going on probably 1.5 to 2 years now.
It'll be 2 years.
I mean, I know, Debbie's been working on it for.
And they
I mean,
use
she's got
COVID.
more. She's got. You talk about me. She's got more. I guess resilience or whatever the word is than me because she is trying and trying and trying and contacting people. Contacting senators, contacting connections that she has, trying to get answers and to this point, it's like beating your head against the wall.
Yep.
I mean,
Heck, we
I
even
can't, I
called
can't thank her enough for everything that she's done trying to do it. But I mean, it's to the point now. It's like we even had a discussion the other day. I want to hear pretty soon. I mean, I know it's all election crap, and that's all hopefully getting over here in about 5 minutes. But here pretty soon, I want to find out who's the head of the Marine Reserves here in Iowa, and I'm gonna go knocking on the door and be like, hey, what the hell is going on here? I mean,
yeah, what do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose right at this point.
At this point, you got it's nuts that I mean, there should be more there than what is, and it's just like these statements and everything else, there's that's why I say I like looking back through these with everybody so everybody can see them and maybe see something or catch something that I don't see or see it a different way than me, and reach out to me and say, hey, what about this? Or hey, what about that? And maybe that'll, like the Adler one that you had up, why weren't other questions asked? I mean, I can sit here and say it for days, but it just don't make any sense,
Well, it doesn't make sense. And we all know that because we all are into true crime on here. And it's just unbelievable. It's bizarre. And I know that 1984 is different than 2022. And I know you said that, like, when you did investigations and stuff, the documentation isn't, to me, I don't understand that. I guess this was a missing person. This was a young man. Why did they? I don't know. I guess I shouldn't say why didn't they do more but I want to say that. And I don't mean no disrespect at all. But like I said, you are one tough guy having to deal with everything that you've dealt with, and being in law enforcement. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you on that part. But like I say, and that's where, like, just like this, I'll invite anybody. I don't care who you are, anybody. If you want to, talk to me about Harry's case or, what you know about Harry, Jeff, Doug, Steve, Denny, any of these people, that were around Harry, knew Harry back then, have something to say or think that, maybe something I'm doing, they want to discuss, maybe you should do this or do that. More than welcome. We can sit here and talk all night about it. You can come up on something like this where, I've heard before, well, they don't want to, like Jeff or Doug or them. Oh, I don't want to be around him. I don't want something to happen and blah, 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 blah. Or I'm scared. We can do it over a computer where you can be miles and miles away from me. I just got questions. I'm not trying to point fingers and accuse. I'm just saying I have questions. Everybody has questions.
Everybody has questions. And if they would be willing to do that, I would send them the link. They could do it right in their own house. And that way people they won't look at them. They can tell what they know and their side, and it'll get people wondering, why are they not talking? Why, if that was me, I would be going to the news station saying, this is what I know. This is all I know. Give me a lie detector's test. I will do anything.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. They don't have to like me. They don't have to, maybe they weren't friends with me and don't like me, or they don't like the fact I was a cop for 21 years or whatever the case is. It's not about me. It's about Harry, so say what you got to say. I answer the question, say what you got to say, and silence. Don't, if you were a friend of Harry, silence doesn't nobody any good. It leaves everybody open to speculate that
maybe you know more, didn't say this or didn't say that, I mean, so,
Yeah.
that's kind of their own doings in on those. I seen Mark Klein's question
Yep.
About the chop shops in the area. I know somebody sent me some articles from around about that time frame in Appanoose County, just south of us. I think there was a big, like I say, a chop shop ring.
What is a chop shop?
But I don't know. I ain't been able to quite figure out if that was exactly like.
I can tell you.
Huh?
What's a chop shop?
Well, basically where they take stolen vehicles.
Oh, I know that they.
Take a vehicle or something you want to get rid of, and they'll take it down there and part it out to pieces and sell the pieces off.
There's several. I don't know about now, but yeah, you're right. Centerville did have one of those.
And I know there was a big bust down there, but I can't remember if it was prior to Harry coming up missing or after he did. I need to do a little more digging into that, but it's just the problem is now is trying to find the information on anything like that.
I can get the information for you.
Yeah. And is it Mark? Ain't it Mark that bought a blanket the other day from you?
I sent the picture to Cheryl to see. I picked out the one, and then Cheryl's going to get one, and I'm going to show pictures of the blankets and the scarves after we go over this next one. And like I said, all the money, I will put Mark's PayPal in here. You guys can, if you guys want one of these blankets or the scarves, talk about the best thing ever. I've had mine it'll be a year in December, and I don't sleep without it. They are so comfortable, so soft, and just amazing. But all this, Lori spends a lot of time making these, and all the money that they get goes right into Harry's funds. Whether it's for whatever they need it for, it goes in there. And Mark and Lori are constantly posting the balance, what's being made on the Harry's Facebook page.
Crazy mom.
So,
like I say, she loves it, and thanks, Mark, for purchasing one of them and donating the money to Harry's fund. Yep. That's awesome. Like I said, she loves making them, and like I said, she's sitting over here behind me doing it now. So, I mean,
Lori.
That's what she does all the time. I'd have carpal tunnel if I had knitted that much, but.
I had carpal tunnel, and then I had surgery, and it came back. It's probably because, my hands are constantly going at work, pricing stuff. Okay. Speak Truth with Love says, I talked to a cop that said it would be very unusual for the military to get involved in a case like this. I guess there are jurisdiction issues.
And I don't know how that works either, to be honest, but I would think that, I guess this is the way I always understood when I was in the military. It was pretty simple. My ass belonged to the federal government, so if I screwed up, I was going to be held accountable by the Marines and they're part of the federal government. So when one of theirs comes up missing or whatever, I would still think that they would have some kind of responsibility to at least, look into it. I mean, I don't know, it just blows my mind. I get it. You're at the time that I was in, I don't know what there is, 800,000 Marines or whatever. And I'm sure they have plenty of others that go AWOL and, all these other different things. That they maybe don't have the resources or time to go out and look into each and every one of them. I don't know. I guess I'd like to sit down and talk to somebody from the military even now and see, okay, what do they do? I mean, or is it just a matter of, and they wash their hands of it and go on? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know I was told by the sheriff's department they've reached out to the military and got no response. I don't know who they reached out to. I don't know what part of the military or anything else. I don't know.
I don't know. Shall we bring this next one up?
Yeah, you can do that real quick.
Okay.
I mean, there ain't much to Doug's.
Doug Maddie. I'm going to bring it up closer. So we've done Denny Hollenrake the last time. Adler, now Doug Maddie. Okay, this was, I would say it's cut off, but the 4th, maybe?
Yeah. I think it was on the 4th.
Okay, Doug Maddie. Summer camp coming up soon. Doug jumped in with Harry, Jeff, and Steve for about 15 minutes, about 2:30 a.m. on Sunday. Didn't act very drunk to Doug. Oh, gosh.
I think it says I've seen him way worse.
Worse. Yes, I've seen him worse. And then that was at 10:35 a.m. And then at 5:30 p.m., received call back from Gail Lundstrom, has seen Harry Saturday night, but he said nothing about leaving. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I might as well read them. They're up there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's from Gail Lundstrom. Yep. Yep. He's talking about Jim and Gail seeing him, saying they saw him on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Which they did. They've told me that they did. That's a whole another story we'll discuss at another point.
And I cannot wait till that is fully blown and come out.
That's what, I mean, I guess that's what I'm trying to do is let everybody kind of see these, let everybody kind of soak them in. Then we'll go to more statements, stuff, notes, whatever you want to call it, that's in the file, and start trying to put everything together at least. And I'll give my opinion of what I see and see if people agree, so that I don't think I'm nuts. But, just like the statement by Doug. Okay, so Jeff never says anything about Doug being with him. Then Doug all of a sudden puts himself in the story and says he was with him for maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So once we get a little farther down the road, and I think in the Jeff Adler statement, he kind of says maybe 3:30 in the morning they were dropped off, or is when they dropped Harry off. Steve Rockwell says they dropped him off at 4:30 to 4:45 in the morning, and that Doug was the last one out of the car. So I guess my question is, on some of this here is, Doug got in him for 15 minutes. Did he get in with him at 4:15 in the morning?
It doesn't make sense.
If you were, and the thing is to me is, you can't say memory, because this is 3 days after, 3 days after one of your friends came up missing. That the police are asking you about it. So okay, I believe maybe you were only in with him for 15 or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But that would have had to been at 4 o'clock in the morning if the other one's not lying about when they dropped him off.
Yeah.
And so it just, the whole contradiction of things is just mind blowing to me.
And I'm sorry, but when you're telling the truth, you don't forget it's always going to be the same. It's not going to be different. Yeah. And then, go ahead, Mark.
I was just going to say, I see Broken Justice's question about declaring Harry dead. In 1992, Harry was declared as deceased. My dad, to clear up his estate, I don't, like I said, I would have been, I'd have just got back. I'd have just got out of the military then in 92. I don't remember really discussing exactly why, other than just to clear up his estate with, I know my dad had a couple, I think back then there were maybe $5,000 life insurance policies that he had, one through the railroad that he worked, and another like one of them Globe Life insurances. I think Dad's biggest thing was, I think the thing that probably, other than Harry missing, the thing that probably hurt him the most was that the military had Harry declared as a deserter. He went on AWOL status first. Then after 30 days, I believe he went on AWOL status. And my dad was one of the, I guess, odd military people in a way, because my dad was both a Korean War vet and a World War II vet. He served time in the Army, and he also served time in the Marine Corps. So he was very proud of his service. He was proud of both of us for service. And when they had him, listed all this time as being AWOL, it broke his heart. So I know part of why he did what he did. He petitioned the courts, got a court order, to have him declared as being deceased, to clear all that up. And, that's why part of the reason why I want the military records. I'd like to know what his final status was. He didn't go AWOL. Something happened to him, and he was missing, and has been missing ever since. So I want to know what their status is in the military, because he deserves an honorable discharge, like everybody else. Tough one to talk about.
Very.
But I mean, that was the hardest thing I ever seen, was a man have to declare, petition a court to have their son declared as dead when you don't even know the answer, or you don't know what happened to him. It's obvious that, that something happened.
Yeah.
So that was what that was all about. He's been declared deceased. As far as the settlement of stuff, no idea from the military. That's one of the things we've been discussing quite a bit lately. With these records, we need payroll records. We need, any records of them coming here and doing anything or talking to anybody, to see if, not that, I could care less really about any kind of like life insurance coverage.
Well, that's what Broken Justice just brought up. Can't y'all, declare Harry as dead and collect his benefits because when you're in the military, you have beneficiary because you have insurance through them, and it could go to help find him.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, now if there was something out there that was owed on his behalf, that's exactly what it would get used for. I mean, there's, I could care less, things fly bother me, but, that I just, we can't even get those records,
That's
we don't, I don't know, anything. I've got one letter and his last payout that I think was paid out to my mom and dad once he was declared deceased. That, I mean, it was like, well, hell, I can tell you, looking at it, it's probably, I think it was like $400, or he might not even been that, might have been $200 some dollars.
Jeez.
That was left on the books of what was supposedly owed to him for leave time that he had accrued while he was, still active in the reserves.
Yeah. Okay. On July 5th, 1984, received call from Leonard Milligan, which would be Harry and Mark's dad. Maurice and Claire flying plane looking over Monroe County. Also asked about putting information in newspaper and radio, etc. I told Leonard I didn't know if requires, but would assist with anything needed.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what I was talking about earlier. Mo Sinclair took his plane up and looked for him. And like I said, that was right before I got home, because I don't remember the exact date. I know he came up missing on the 1st. My mom and dad had contacted me, and then they waited 3 or 4 more days, to see if he just showed up or somebody found him or whatever. And then all of a sudden, I think it was like a Friday that, my first sergeant came that following Friday, which would have probably been like the 5th or 6th, maybe, whatever.
Yeah.
Come and got me and said, "Hey, you're going home." I mean, your mom just called here and said they still ain't found your brother. Get your stuff packed. I got all, I'm getting all the orders cut to send you back home on recruiting duty out of Ottumwa. Go home and look for your brother. And they put me on a plane and sent me home for 55 days. So.
Yeah. Speak truth with love. Did you mention why you can't get the military records? It's started with COVID.
Well, yeah, some of it started, when I put in for them, it was during the COVID time, and they had St. Louis and all the records places shut down. No excuse now. I mean, I check it once a week to see what the status is, and it still just says we've received your request, and that's it. It just sits, it's been sitting idle for over a year and a half now, with no response, no nothing. Like I say, one of the gals close with us, Debbie, she's been haunting everybody trying to get them and get an answer why we can't get them. And so far, unfortunately, we just can't get an answer out of anybody. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know if it's going to take, me going up to the Capitol and knocking on the governor's door here in a while and say, we need to have a conversation. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. Yeah. I don't understand it. Okay. Let me go up here and maybe let me bring it up here. Okay, explain what this is, Mark.
What this is probably one of the old, like I said earlier, one of the only typed reports that, is in the first part of his deal. What this is this is a bottom half of a missing person report or an incident report back in 1984. The top half, of course, has like my mom's information, who's reporting it, who's missing, Harry's information, all this stuff. And then there's a short little narrative of the information that my mom told, which would have been Deputy Yarkowski at the time, because he's the one who took this report, told Deputy Yarkowski at the time that Harry came up missing. And one of the reasons I had, I want everybody to see everything. I mean, it'll be up here. I'm going to start putting some of this stuff right up on the page so people can see it. I guess one of the biggest things, since we're talking about, the statements and what people are saying, or what they've, been documented of saying, one of the things that really catches me with all of this when it comes back to who's telling the truth, who's lying, or who's omitting things. If you look at this report here, it says right on it that that my mom had spoken. It says she had spoken, said that she had spoken with Doug Maddie, and that he had seen him with Jeff Adler and Mike Rockwell that last night. I don't know if that's a type error of Mike Rockwell versus Steve Rockwell. I don't know. He does have a brother named Steve, does have a brother Mike. But the biggest thing that got me is kind of how that's, how it's worded. It could be just the way it's worded. It could be something, different, but it just says, all Doug ever says is, I seen Harry with Jeff and Rockwell. It don't ever say anything about, he said I was with them, and I would think that, you're talking to my mom,
Can I read this out, Mark?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. At approximately 7:30 p.m. on July 1st, 1984, this reporting officer was contacted by Mrs. Milligan and advised that her son, Harry Dennis Milligan, had failed to come home or call about his whereabouts. I asked if she had contacted any friends, and she said that she had, and that she also contacted Jeff Adler, who apparently seen him last. She also stated that he had checked all the roads between. She also stated that she had checked all the roads between Albia and Avery and could not find him. At this time, I then entered Harry into the NCIC systems as a missing person. I then went to the residence in Avery and spoke with Mrs. Milligan, who said that Harry has never been gone this long without making contact with his parents about his whereabouts. She said that she had spoken with Doug Maddie and that he seen him with Jeff Adler and Mike Rockwell last night. Harry works for Steve Maddie painting the David Grimes house. Mrs. Milligan said that she talked to Adler and Van Seaman.
Yep, Seaman.
Yeah.
And I think there's a little piece of
Yep,
like another sentence or so on the back, which is not much, but like I said, I just thought that was very strange that, Doug again is, one, he says I was with him for 15 minutes, and now, and in this, what he had told my mother, basically the following day after Harry come up missing, because this report was filed at like 7:30 at night on July 1st. She had talked to him throughout that day, and he don't say that he was with Harry at any point. He just says he saw that Doug saw him with Adler and Mike Rockwell. I thought that was very odd and strange.
Yeah.
You went from just seeing him to being with him for the 15 minutes to other people not even putting you with them. Why, why is he, not tell which one's he telling the truth,
Exactly. And then she says, and they was going to look for him. Mrs. Milligan stated that her son was wearing a new pair of blue jeans, a blue plaid designed dress shirt with white tennis shoes when he left the night before. She also said that there were no problems at home or any depression recently. Yeah. Crazy Mama said he was dressed to go out.
Yeah, he's going to go out and party with his friends.
Broken Justice just said, and I know she's got military family, and I don't. My dad, I've asked him, he was military, he was Navy, but she says that she thinks that the military would owe you guys about $300,000, if not more. And that's why this is one big thing, you guys, that we really, that Mark and Lori, that they want to get that reward, because, I would give anything to have enough money for Harry to have his own attorney, an attorney fighting for him. It happens. Families do hire attorneys, it's just so much money. But I would give anything, or, a good private investigator to come in and look at this case. You can talk more about that, Mark, but
yeah, it's all money. Money talks, money gets things done. I don't know if there's enough money out there to get somebody to talk or not, but you don't know, until you keep trying to, up the money that's out there, because like I've said before, that money, that's the main purpose of that money is a reward fund. If somebody provides information that says Harry Milligan is right here, I know that, here's how I know that. And we talk to law enforcement, or they talk to law enforcement, and Harry is, found right there, I'll write him a check for every penny that's in there and be done, with all of it, just to find him. In the meantime, we still use some. That's why, the fund kind of fluctuates here and there. We've done things like, 4x8 billboards that we kind of raise money separately for, but at the same time, we've used money for signs and shirts and, bumper stickers and, everything we can to keep pushing it out there, so, it goes up and down a little bit, but, for the most part, it keeps going up and up. Like I say, it's almost at $27,000 right now. I kicked around the other day of another way of trying to raise the funds. I've seen it done in other missing person cases and in cities. I don't know that it would work in Albia, but I guess the thing that I looked at was trying to get businesses to pledge a certain amount if that happens. You know what I mean? That way they're not out any money. All they got to do is say, hey, if this happens, just like Mark said, where somebody, gives specific information that finds him, then I have to follow through on the pledge that I made. If like a business, if they pledged, oh, I'll pledge $10,000, this is tax write off. They're not out any money until that happens, and the likelihood of it happening, maybe never, I don't know, but it would sure as hell, if a company said, okay, I'll match, if somebody gives information, in regards to Harry being found, I'll double what's in that fund. You know what I mean? I've seen that done. That was the big thing up in where they found the kid in northern Iowa. There was like $100,000 reward on that for finding him, and it was all money pledged by businesses. That said, okay, yeah, I'll, if this does happen, we'll, pay this amount of money.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't like asking. I don't like dealing with the money.
Don't.
I do it. I keep records of everything that we use anything for and what comes in. But we've done a couple different benefits now, and of course we're still doing the Lori's blankets and scarves and stuff like that. The shirts, we still got a lot of them left that, if people want to donate when they get one, that's great. But I'm not the type of person that asks for money. I hate it.
You do hate it. And let me tell you, I know you hate it, but I know that when Debbie and me went around, and asked businesses, they donated stuff for the auction, and every little dollar helps. Every little thing. I'm going to bring,
and it's like you're saying about
show them. This was after you guys that they had built the signs and they were putting them up. This is probably one of my, I just love this picture because it just shows there's so many people out there that, these guys are all family.
I've actually got, for everybody listening, especially, in the Albee area, if you listen to this, I have one sign sitting out here in my little dog kennel right now that we had to take down. We had one on Highway 5 South by Senate's, which they have been absolutely great with everything. But they had another business going there right where the sign was. So we had to take it down just for their business purpose. So I'd like to find another place for this sign. We have one, for the people here in town. We've got pretty much north end of town covered. We've got east and west covered with, Nick's Restaurant and the Gas and Go that belongs to Kaufman, which is the gentleman even helping put up the sign in the picture there.
Are you talking about the electrical, the big sign that's going in? Right there at the intersection?
I don't know. Bobby got a hold of me and just said something about, they had a business going in there with golf carts or something like that. And they was going to be parking them there and everything else, which they did. And that's completely fine. I get it.
Do
you want it in Albee, Mark? Does it?
I have one far south of town, where we, and Jerry Casters, which he's one of the best guys, but
Jerry's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a character. We have one in his front yard that's got Harry's picture on it on the northbound side, and on the southbound side, it actually has Ty's picture from Centerville is missing. So we covered two bases with that one, So I would like to have another one somewhere on the south edge of town, somewhere there to catch all the traffic, because that's the one thing, it was Lori's idea to put up these mini billboards after watching the movie, the 3 billboards. So we come up with this idea, and it's a great idea. And, I want anybody and everybody that is in Albia, lives in Albia, or passes through Albia to know that Harry Milligan is missing from Albia, and somebody knows the hell what happened. So.
Exactly. Well, what about like towards between like La Villa and Knoxville? You want it closer?
I've got one right now. There's one out at the fairgrounds. on the fence at the fairgrounds where
I'm
everybody can see
talking further north, further north.
And I got one out at Julie Trinkle has one on the cut through road that goes from Highway 5 over to 137. She owns the shop out there. So I mean, we got one there. I mean, I don't care where I put it. I'll put it anywhere if people see it. I just it's better than it's sitting out here in my shed. I mean, I know it's getting late in the year to put up a sign again, but I'd love to see it go up somewhere.
Yeah. What about past La Villa?
If you got a place we can put it, I'll put it anywhere.
Well, I know quite a few people up through there, and I always said I would love to get one further north. I'd love to have them clear from Albia, clear to Des Moines to Minnesota. I mean,
right.
I clear to wherever. This is the other one that Mark was talking about. This is Ty. He was 18 years old. And he went missing in 2018. And his family's another one that they're not getting any help. And Mark, actually, him and Lori have made a bond with Ty's family. And I've talked to Ty's sister, and, she's busy. She's got kids. The mom, I want to bring him on and do a video with them too, because I just feel terrible that nobody's helping these families. I
think that would be great.
I don't understand, but like I said, I'm good at jabbering, and I will talk about it.
I know at least 2 other families other than Ty's here in Iowa that, we've kind of become pretty,
I met the one,
I guess, or whatever. I'm sure we could set up get a panel at some point and just talk about, people's heard me talk from around here and how I feel about, and I'm not bad mouthing anybody, don't take it wrong, but law enforcement, how it was handled to begin with, those type of things, the fact that there is no cold case unit, the way things in general, the missing are even looked at, or I guess in that case, not looked at, what'd she say? Yeah, the Venmo's the same, crazy mama. Same thing. At Harry, whatever it is, Harry.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to pin this, put it up here. Why would Doug leave himself out when he spoke with his mama, but inserts himself when interviewed?
And we'll get farther down the picture. I arrested Doug Matty at one point, and he told me he knew exactly what happened to Harry, but he would never tell me.
And that, I'm so glad you brought that up, because
so I mean, we go from one thing to a little bit in the story to a little bit more to an admittance that what happened. I just, nobody's ever going to tell me that out of the people that have been talked to in this case file, and there'll be more names and stuff come up as we go along here. Somebody knows what happened to Harry.
That's right. And I'm so glad we're doing this, Mark, because
and if they think I'm going away, they're nuts. Ditto. Until I die, I'm going to be doing like we're doing now, talking about it, talking to people, verifying information, doing backgrounds on people, to figure out, all kinds
and
of
Mark,
stuff.
Even if something would happen to you and Lori, I guarantee you that there's a lot of us that will never stop. We will not stop.
That's what I hope for is, someday I know someday I'm going to have the answer. Someday I'm going to be dead and gone and I'll have the answer, just like my parents, I know they have the answer, but and it's, I think, I want the answer. My family wants the answer, but I think even at that, this is a stigma that's been over the city of Albia for 40 years. You would think somebody, I don't know. I don't, somebody would want to clear that up at some point.
Yep.
You know, Albia, Iowa, 3,000 people, maybe 3,500 max. They have an unsolved murder that's never been solved, and they have a missing person that's never been solved. And they also have, I don't know, I could probably count, at least 5 to 10 deaths that I know of in Albia and Monroe County that are completely suspicious. That most people know when you bring up certain names, that person didn't commit suicide. Oh no, that person didn't die working on a car underneath it and it fallen on him, because the person would have never worked on a car. I mean, it's stuff like that. So, it goes back to, there's a secret here. There's something going on that is going to get, I'm going to keep pushing until I get to the bottom of everything. I mean, I guess it's even just like when I first went in and sat down with the sheriff and got this thing kind of back to life. The first thing that the man told me was, Mark, there's people in Albia that don't like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Not this person or that person. There's people that don't like what you're doing. Who are they? Well, who's those people? Let me talk. I'd like to know their names. I want to know who they are, because I want to know why you would have a problem with me finding out what happened to my brother.
Yep. I'm going to post Crazy Mama at Bring Harry Home. Yes, that's Harry's Venmo account. I mean, it's through Mark, but it's Harry's. And then I'm also posting the PayPal that it's, under Mark's name. And then, Mark, will you give them, if people don't feel comfortable doing the PayPal or Venmo, give them what bank and tell them about what they just put on the check if they want to donate to the bank.
If you want to make a direct, donation, you can mail or take it into the bank, do whatever. Just go into First Iowa State Bank in Albia and tell them you want to deposit money into the Harry Milligan Fund. We've had several people do that, send money from different places, and send it right straight to the bank, which, that's, any way you want to do it, that's personally fine with me. All I care is we're still trying to raise that fund and keep it going. And like I've said before, someday when we find Harry and find all the answers and bring him home and everything else, if there's money left in that account, it'll be put towards some kind of foundation to help other missing families, missing families of missing people, like Ty in Centerville, or, any of these others, Josh Wellman, David McAllister, any of them. It would help, I don't know. I don't know how else to use it that I think that would be the only way to use it. So there's other people that need the same attention, the same publicity, the same stuff. So maybe their, loved one can be brought home.
Well, I know you have done amazing with everything that you have, I know that you, like Crazy Mama said, every time you have a donation of anything, the receipts are right there. If I, let's say, Mark bought a blanket, he didn't want to do any of the things, so he only does checks. So Cheryl cash apped me for it, and then I screenshotted that. So, and then I sent that to Mark, because you got to have, Mark wants everything, everything shown. He does not mess around with that. So everything.
Another thing is we have the donation boxes. There's one at your guys' business there at Top Notch. There's one at Super Value. There's one at Down Home Creations. There's one out at, the Highway Restaurant out there at Nick's. There's, boxes out there that people can drop their change in or do whatever. And the other thing with one of them is if you know something, you want it to be anonymous, there's another great way. Write something down on a piece of paper, stick it in one of them boxes, and when I collect the boxes, I get a note telling me whatever and have no clue where it came from.
And I can honestly tell you guys, Mark and Lori are the only ones that open that box. And we've got cameras right on it. So I'm telling you, if anybody wants to, and you feel like, stick a note in there. I don't open them. I had to call Lori message her not too long ago. It was getting so full. I couldn't, it was, I didn't want money starting to come out of it, and it needs to be picked up again. Yeah. And another thing, with that, when he said that, we've got all the boxes and stuff, anybody local that, I'm going to I'm going to have blankets at the store too. And I'm sure you guys will be watching this before long, but if all that money, you can either write a check or you can put the cash in Harry's box, whatever. And we're going to do it this way. It's going to be for the large blankets. It's $55 local. And then anybody that needs it shipped out, you guys can let us know your zip code and we can tell you how much the shipping is going to be, and then whatever. So if you guys, anybody that does want a blanket, let us know, and we'll figure it out. She's going to have scarves at the store, and can I bring these pictures up? Because I've been dying to show people.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much done for tonight. If you want to show the blankets and how to get them and the scarves, I think we'll call it good, and we'll start off maybe next week. Try to do the same thing, maybe Tuesday night or whatever, and or 2 weeks, whatever
you want.
I know you're busy with a lot of stuff, so it's getting to be winter for me, so I may be busy too with snow flying here pretty soon. But
okay, some of these blankets Lori just did and sent pictures, and then I've got some that are still in the or Mark, if you're still in here, I'll show you which one I'm gonna.
Yes, crazy mama. She's still making them.
Yeah.
If somebody wants one, or if you want another one, all you gotta do is get a hold of us. We'll definitely get you one.
Guys, these blankets.
Been a huge supporter.
like I said, I don't sleep without my blanket. It's because I get so hot and I cannot stand to get hot. So it keeps me perfectly warm, and where I don't get hot and I don't get cold. It's the best.
And she also sitting back here behind me saying that if anybody wants any in a specific color, all you gotta do is get a hold of her. She'll make it. I mean, she'll order the yarn or whatever, and
Mark, this is the one.
Get the colors you want or whatever you.
Yeah, Mark, I figured you would like this one since you're, a man. It's got the light browns. It's just really pretty. But if you don't, just let me know tonight, and I'll send out one of these other ones, or Mark, which, if Mark and Lori have it, if you want a different color, I don't know. But I know I was going to send them out, but I haven't had a whole lot of time. So it'll be tomorrow if you want that one or one of these. Okay, this is one of the scarves.
And with these scarves, people have to understand. I think you're going to show a picture of like our daughter-in-law with one of them on. They don't come apart they don't have ends like a normal scarf. They're actually sewed together on the end, and you just slide them over your head. So it's not like the wraparound thing. But
and actually, I can put all these pictures on my community post, you guys, and that way, you guys, if you guys want to wait when I get done here, I will literally. There's another scarf. I'll put.
I hadn't yet.
I threw myself off. You have pics of hats.
She ain't made no hats yet.
I was gonna say
just the scarves and the blankets, and then she's actually
you know what?
She's actually been making these little baby booties that are like, I don't know, they're like a little bit. I mean, they fit babies, but they're booties made for babies. It's kind of.
You know what?
Adorable.
You need to.
I say thank you for the comment, Broken Justice.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You need to make some hats, though.
I have many times.
She's made a lot of hats before. She can make hats.
I want one.
She's made a bunch of them.
I'll get with her and we'll find a pattern.
Yeah. She said she'll get with you and find a pattern. So
I'll show you exactly what I want, what color and everything.
Crazy Mama said she has a 3-month-old granddaughter. I'll have to check them out, Lori.
Also, she makes baby blankets too. She also makes doggy blankets.
Where do you got it? Where's it at?
Puppy like.
Oh, well, I thought of the booties.
Oh no,
yeah, I would say if you had one right there, I'd show it. They're only like they're cuter and crap. They're just little bitty things.
I'm gonna show you guys. There's some more scarves, but this is what they look like on.
Yeah, that's our daughter-in-law modeling one.
Adorable. She's not gonna get mad at me that I showed this picture.
No, that's why we had it taken. Is
and then there's
so you can show people how it just slides on over your head. And
you want me to show another one? Yeah. There's a couple of pictures that she sent me so I could show. I mean, look at these. They're just cute. I love it. What's Lori saying?
She said they're so warm. Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know if anybody heard me, but she literally makes animal blankets too.
Yeah, she's made animal blankets. She's made baby blankets.
There's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will post these.
Pretty much make it.
Oh shoot, I don't want my camera on. Hold on. Ugh. Okay. I get nervous. Anyways, I'm going to post all these pictures of the blankets, the scarves, and if you guys want a certain color, I will, you guys can ask Lori. Go to the Facebook. I'm going to post it again. And thank you, all you guys coming in.
Mama said, read the comment above about the hat she needs.
Well, let me hold on a minute. I got to get this off.
She needs a hat that a ponytail can come out of.
Hey, Wolfie. Crazy Mama.
Yeah, since she needed one that a ponytail can come out of. I'm sure if there's a pattern for it, she can make it.
Wolf blankies. Okay, crazy about the hat I need. Oh, yes. That has the hole that the ponytails. Yeah, those are a lot of people like those kind. Yeah. That would be easy for her to make too.
I would think so.
Do you know what she's talking about, Lori?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get off of here, I think. Like I said, I appreciate everybody. We're going to keep putting stuff out. I'm working on a lot of different things for the water search questions and all that stuff. Now that, I don't have to worry about taking care of my yard and all that stuff every night. And it's getting to be winter. I'll have a lot more time to be able to put things out. I want to try to get, everything out that, anybody wants to know about,
You know what's terrible, Mark? I still don't have my dead flowers picked up from summer. That's bad. I usually have it done and all my corn stalks and hay put out, my decorations. Yeah, I haven't done any of that. I just,
Shay Watson said, do dog sweaters?
Oh, I bet she could.
She said she's never done one, but she would. So
you know what?
Gypsy, and if anybody's a Vikings fan that needs a dog what do you call, what is that? Sweater or whatever. I've got one that they can have if they're a Vikings fan. For a
Hey,
small dog.
We have
I got two of
it
them.
says cookie.
Dalman says cookie on it.
Gypsy needs a dog sweater. I want to order one.
Broken Justice had dog sweaters.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yes, she can, crazy mama. She can. She is very talented. So, anyways, anybody that wants one, I just put Harry's Facebook page. You can actually get with, if you don't want to go through me with anything, you can go right to Mark and Lori, and they can set you up with whatever you want. Or if you don't have Facebook and whatever, you can go through me and get whatever you want. Broken Justice, she can get a hold of me. Crazy Mama. There's a lot of ways. Anyways, we can get it taken care of. And at Bring Harry Home is the Venmo. If you guys want to donate through that, I will post all this up on a community post, and I will let you go, Mark. I know you're probably tired.
Got to get up early in the morning. So.
Yep, so do I.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you have a good night, Mark.
Lori said she just sent you a couple pictures of the booties, but
Oh, do you want me to post them?
you can. I mean, yeah, if
So
you can.
cute.
The dog booties or baby
Yeah.
They're
booties?
actually baby booties.
Yeah, I don't know if you can.
Oh my gosh, these
I
are
mean, if you can
cute.
see them in my foot, that's what they look like. They're just little. They're
Here,
little bitty.
here's
they're like that, little white ones. I don't know if you can see it in the picture on there or not. On my camera, it's kind of hard. Yeah, you can't really see that one, the white. Yeah, but they're just little tiny things, just right for a baby.
These.
Well, I appreciate it, Allison. I appreciate
Yeah.
everybody else's comments
You-
and questions and everything.
You
Invite
let me
people to the
know.
page. Invite people to Allison's YouTube site so that we can keep talking and getting the word out. So I appreciate everything from everybody.
Yes, and you let me know when we want to do this, and I'll get it scheduled, and we'll,
And
get her
thank you
done.
again, Mark Klein, for the purchasing one of the blankets.
Yep, and then Cheryl's getting one too, and whoever else wants one, just like I said,
Anybody,
get a hold
thank
of
you guys. So,
get a hold of us. And let me see here.
yep, Christmas is coming, so better get your order in now.
Exactly. These
That's
are
it.
the best presents anybody could ever have. They are
Maybe
nice.
Mama said send it to her Facebook.
Oh, the booties?
Yeah.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay.
I'll
All
also put
righty.
them up on
Well,
the
I'm going to
community
get out of
post,
here
too.
and thank you guys, and we'll hopefully see everybody again in the next one.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Bye, Lori.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Yep.
Good night. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate every one of you for coming in and showing Mark and Lori support. It means the world to me. So I will let you guys know when we're doing this next. Mods, thank you. Crazy Mama, thank you. Everybody else, I appreciate you. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you guys.